Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tit, fart, turd, and know the Anthem podcast. This is Corey.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob.
You know, I had to do a little something special for 182.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's the magic 182.
A little classic blink for...
Yeah. By the way, I think we're going to hit 200 by the end of the year.
Yeah.
That right? Is that
No.
right? 12 more? 12 more?
12...
3
no.
months.
18.
18 more. I can't do math. Welcome to episode 182 of the Anthem podcast. It is 3:45 Pacific. That makes it 6:45 Eastern. And the Anthem is live from coast to coast, coming to you from the hashtag OTALA studios, high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for telling people. Thank you for smoke signals and any other thing that you do to get the word out about the Anthem, and we appreciate it greatly.
Yes. And we're a little tired. I felt like I caught up on sleep. It's been a rough week after last week, and hopefully you guys joined us last week for OTA After Dark, which of course just turned into a regular episode on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of people join us, even on the East Coast, for our very late show on Monday.
Right, and post-Vegas, too.
Post-Vegas show. And I was feeling a deficit of sleep all week long. And then finally, yesterday, Friday night into Saturday, I slept 13 hours or so. So I felt like I finally caught up. And just when you're there, then you stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning and get up at 9 a.m. to go watch football on the West Coast. And wasn't it worth it, though? Wasn't it worth it?
No, not at all.
So, yeah, we weren't in Vegas, of course, but we went to our usual stomping ground at the West Wing. That's Big Wings in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And it's always great. You know, there's something about being there with another bunch of Ravens fans.
Just real quick, I will say that it was nice, though, that Roberto could give us a ride in.
Yes.
Rather than having to wake up the extra amount earlier.
An extra 40 minutes early.
To take the metro. And yeah.
So that was nice. And so we got there. We actually made kickoff for only the second time this year, I think. No, first time this year at Big Wings. Because we were way late, and then we were late, but we still got a table week, too. We did not get a table this week, so it was another...
Steeler week, though.
What's that?
Steeler week, though,
yes.
I would have expected.
Yeah. But, yeah, so very little sleep and then standing for 3 hours and watching a football game. And I'd like to say that it was worth it, but unfortunately, it was not.
No, y'all saw what happened.
Yeah. So... I don't know. We talked last week about that maybe the Jaguars' loss wasn't as bad as it really looked. They were in London. The Jaguars go there almost every year. They go to London, so they're used to the travel. It's down to the point where you can say, listen, this is how you need to start your sleep schedule on Wednesday so that you're ripe and ready to go on Sunday morning for the game. The Ravens don't do that. So maybe it was a fluke. But the team... My point this whole week was that, look at this, not the whole week, but after Thursday, was that the Bears team that lost embarrassingly on Thursday beat the Steelers. But the Steelers have now beaten the Ravens, and decidingly so.
You see, I don't factor in the Bears-Steelers matchup that much because it's one of those any given Sunday type of feels. And honestly, the Jaguars game last week sort of had that, the wheels came off the wagon early, and there was no getting it back on. Yeah. On course, but coming in, I felt like this was a deciding week. Like either the Ravens are good, and we're going to find out, or they're bad, and we're going to find out. Because the two wins against the Browns and the Bengals don't really prove anything for me.
Although the Bengals won handily today, so
against the Browns.
Oh, that's right.
Both teams can't come out undefeated.
Yes, yeah.
But you all right?
Started speaking.
Don't choke yourself there.
Started speaking before I swallowed. Anyway, go ahead.
We both discussed it, and I think we're done with Joe Flacco, at least for the time being.
Absolutely.
Because that was horrendous.
Yes.
And the offense is looking lifeless.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help that people can't catch the ball.
Well, and
that the offensive line can't block.
Yes.
But
you need a mobile quarterback with our line being in the condition that it's in, mainly that Marshall Yanda is going to be out probably for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Late into the season anyway. You need a mobile quarterback. Joe is not a mobile quarterback. He looks like one of those wind sculptures that walks on the sand. That's just powered. It's made of wood and just powered by the wind. Mm-hmm. He takes big, long strides. He's not very mobile. And we say that we need receivers who can catch, but I know you live by the old adage, if it hits you in the hands, you should have caught it.
Yeah.
But there was like one pass where Perryman the throw was supposed to be off his sideline shoulder, and instead it was off his inside shoulder, and he did a 360 and still got his hands on it. And I'm like, I don't blame Perryman for that. He did everything he could to catch the ball. It just wasn't in the right position.
Yeah.
I blame the quarterback for that. And coming down in the fourth quarter, we had 3 opportunities to score, none of which we scored on.
Right.
How did those drives end?
Interception, punt,
Yep.
and an interception.
Yes, that would be the exact. Yeah, that's how that is. So, I mean, who is there to blame in that? I think that there's only one source. And, Anthony Scaramucci did us no favors this week when he called Joe Flacco an elite quarterback, because I think that isn't
Because
true.
of death.
And it just isn't true. It's not true. He doesn't play like an elite quarterback. Everyone at the bar today was cheering and like, "Oh, we're back, we're back!" When we had the first scoring drive.
Yeah.
And I just was looking around at people saying that was a 50-yard running play. Our quarterback did nothing for that.
Right.
And I don't know what the solution is, except for getting a different quarterback in. I started saying put Mallett in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be any worse. It can't be worse than what we have in there.
Here's my concern, and this is not me doing the usual Raven fan thing of Joe Flacco could have like a day where he's 30 for 35 with 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but one interception that blows the game at the end.
Yeah.
And then Baltimore Sports Radio is just like, Joe Flacco needs to go. Tyrod Taylor needs to get in this game. Like,
yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that Joe, it seems clear as day for me watching it is just not right. He's not like his back is still hurting or something, because he's just not, he doesn't look like he used to, and he didn't even look
that
good. I mean, like that mobile before.
Yeah.
But now he just looks like he's like made of molasses. Like he's just sort of like creeping around it's
and
terrible.
The line problems mean he's spending a lot of time on his back.
Yeah.
There was 4 sacks today and like 18 hurry-ups or 18 knockdowns and who knows how many hurry-ups. It's not a good look. And on the same day that Cam Newton becomes the first quarterback to have 50 rushing touchdowns in his career. I don't know what else this team can do. We can't put it all on the defense. The defense did as well as they could with being on the field for 45 minutes.
The defense throughout the first half was just giving up field goals, was being put in awful field position and doing the bend not break thing. Right. And listen, if the Steelers regularly are starting in their offensive zone and getting field goals instead of touchdowns, I'm fine with this.
Right.
You should be able to answer back with at least a field goal.
With at least a field goal. And not put Justin Tucker in a position of kicking a
65-yard field goal or whatever it was.
Into the windy end of the stadium where you're trying to compensate left to make sure it goes
where
right.
he just barely missed too.
Yes.
That was an absurd kick.
Yeah. But they're not. The offense isn't putting in the position. The defense, again, played very well, including the fact that they were on the field almost the entire game.
Yeah.
Ben was running 15 minutes.
In the first half, it was 20 minutes time in possession for the Steelers to 10 for the Ravens. Like, and every single one of those 10 was broken up into 1.5 minute bits.
Yeah.
3 maybe with the commercials and shit like that. But I mean, there's not enough time for your defense is over on the sideline gassed, and you're just not giving them time to recuperate.
So, looking at the rest of the season, we have they're playing at Oakland next week, and we are definitely driving up to catch that game.
I got to work.
Yeah, and I'm not going to make that trip because 1, I don't want to go to Oakland. That's 1. 2, that 8-hour drive home is going to be miserable when they get blown out at the Coliseum, and then I have to drive home. So no,
and you got to deal with the Raider fans there. And number 3. Just fucking move this team to Vegas already, will you please? I mean,
if we were playing in Vegas, that's just another excuse. I leave you here so you can work, and I'll go to Vegas for the weekend. I don't care about that.
I would have told them I did. I'm sorry, I'm not available that weekend.
Ravens are in Vegas.
Ravens are in Vegas. Sorry,
got things to do.
Maybe can we just while we're sort of on the topic of teams moving, can we figure out a way to get San Diego or the Chargers to go back somewhere, or anywhere else? Because
do you think
this is getting absurd.
At some point, they have to say, maybe we should just take this team back to San Diego, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Spanos won't because he's...
Well, I mean, the only way it happens is Spanos sells the team.
Right. And then they say, let's take the team back to San Diego. But I think they're contractually obligated to go into the new LA stadium, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably not going to happen. But none of the fans care.
No.
None of the team doesn't seem to care that much. I mean, they don't
Well,
care
the
where
team
they are.
seems to care that they're coming out of the tunnel and getting booed at home. I mean, this is...
It looked like what'd you say? It looked like an Eagles home game.
Yeah,
at the stadium today.
It was almost like when football teams hold like public practices.
Yeah.
And like you'll see like the Ravens and the Redskins practice against each other, but they'll do it at like the Naval Academy, which is still a big stadium, but it's clearly not an NFL stadium.
And it's not full, like
right?
It should be on.
So
Sunday.
it'd be like if the Ravens and Redskins had a practice at like United Stadium.
Yeah.
And it's just 25,000 seat whatever, but it's sad and it's upsetting because never in sports have I seen a team that like moved such a small distance,
right?
And like it's clearly weighing on the LA Chargers because they can't escape San Diego.
Yeah,
because all the San Diego people are just as loud.
And I don't know how many people are traveling, but as you said earlier in a pre-show meeting, they put tarps up in a stadium that seats 27,000 people.
Yeah.
Which is embarrassing for a football team.
Right.
And you've been saying for years that South Florida doesn't deserve professional sports. Mm-hmm. Is it getting to the point where Southern California doesn't deserve professional sports?
No, I'm not gonna say that.
Okay.
What I will say is that LA is very much a you gotta win kind of town. There's no if the Lakers went on like a 76ers like cold streak where they just lost season after season after season, and at the same time the Clippers were winning all the time,
right?
Then this would quickly become like a Clippers town. Like it's all about whoever's winning.
Yeah.
Like it's not about any like loyalty to the Lakers. Might be of any of them the one that breaks that mold though. Like a bad Lakers team will still be loved, but almost any other team won't.
But I mean, the other thing, the other problem that
the Dodgers too. I mean, I think the Dodgers and the Lakers are sort of like the two at the top of the list.
Okay,
and then every other team is just dependent on whether or not you win.
Fair weather fans.
Yeah.
But the Rams actually don't look horrible.
No.
So that's another problem for the Chargers is they do look pretty bad.
And they had a whole year to like build the goodwill of like we're coming home
and they're coming home. They're not moving to the nearby metropolis.
Right.
So just not a good situation for the Chargers. And the Chargers are trying so hard. There's billboards up everywhere and bus stops and everything trying to like fight for LA. And
my favorite is I get I'm sure I'm on it because I live in LA and I'm on some football list for Facebook where they're like, we know you like football.
Yeah.
So I get the ads all the time from the Chargers where it's like fight for LA and like the like compelling graphics of them looking real tough.
Yeah.
And I just like haha every single one of those or angry or something. I don't got time. The other part too is the Rams games are you can go and find tickets on StubHub or Game Time or something like that for $10.
Right. But it's also a huge stadium.
Right. It's a huge stadium and it's hot and unpleasant to be there. But at least at the very least you can get me in the door and you can try and woo me.
Right.
With the Chargers, the tickets are still ridiculous. Like if I could get in for $5 and just see it and take the place of an empty seat, then I would check it out, but
I don't understand it. It's like the hotel example we talked about on Monday, where that room is going to be empty. The seat is going to be empty.
Yeah.
Would you rather me pay $5 and eventually buy a soda or a beer or something to eat while I'm there as well?
Or $50 for parking. Or
$50 for parking. I mean, because it's not like we could take public transportation.
No, not to Carson.
Yeah. No, not going to happen. Mm-hmm. Maybe Uber there.
Yeah, it's either pay the parking at $50 or take the two $25 Uber rides.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean,
what are you gonna do?
One way or the other, you're kind of screwed.
But yeah, so I don't understand the logic of it, but I think they're trying to build a brand, and the brand says that this is how much a ticket costs, so this is how much we're charging it for.
Yeah,
makes no sense. But we'll see how the season progresses. I mean, as we get closer to December, maybe those ticket prices come down.
See, I wonder if they if the Chargers they had one public event right after they moved.
Yeah.
So they bungled it with that LA Chargers logo, the one that looked like the Dodgers only
logo.
with
Yeah.
And everyone got in on the the Lightning were just no matter what you think, we did not have a relationship with the LA Dodgers.
Yeah.
This is not our child or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a big fat joke. And then they had one event where 4 people showed up to welcome the Chargers to town.
Luckily, all those people go to every game. So
and most of them were wearing Rams jerseys, walking up what's this? It's the Ram things?
Football must be Rams. Okay, yeah, sure.
Wait, the Chargers are here? Really?
Yeah.
San Diego's a pretty big city. Don't they deserve a football team?
Oh, they do.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so we got 2 now. That's fine.
That's
whatever.
cool. Yeah.
Somebody else is moving to San Diego, right? And I think they just got so shell shocked. They don't want to have a hey, everyone come out to Grand Park and do a Chargers rally
and have nobody show up,
and then have nobody there because that would just be the fact that they're airing these games and nobody showing up is more embarrassing than the team is just playing. If the team was bad,
XFL had better attendance at their games than what the Chargers are.
Well, at the beginning, at least.
Yes, yeah. But they're posting their own ads. They're trying their best, and the Chargers fans are responding by purchasing their own ads in a plane that flies over the stadium.
I love this. So the first week, a coalition. By the way, I love these people. I would totally be if I was the age I am now when the Colts left.
Yeah,
I would totally be in this bandwagon of people who are doing this. There's a collection of Charger fans who have been just basically creating a war chest of money that they're using on advertising.
Yeah,
they bought a billboard outside of the StubHub Center where the Chargers play. That'll have various insults to the Chargers and Dean Spanos, the owner.
Yeah.
And they've also they rent a plane to do circles around the stadium with a message behind it. Mm-hmm. Like you would see, Rebecca, marry me, or something like that on a plane. And the one this week was particularly pecan, I found. It said, hey, Dean Spanos, if you want to see a sellout, why don't you look in the mirror? Which is good.
Especially ironic over the empty stadium with the tarps on it that you cannot get even with the tarps to look filled.
Also, the Spanos tried to argue to the FAA that they shouldn't be allowed to fly the plane over top the stadium because it's a safety concern.
Sure.
And the FAA is like, nah, I think you're just gonna enjoy this.
You take your medicine.
Dean.
So we have a long NFL season to look forward to, or maybe not if this Ravens team keeps showing up every single week.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm surprised you haven't called for a fix to the quarterback situation.
I absolutely listen. I've called for it since before it began. I've been saying that we should hire another quarterback if only there was one available. Maybe there's hold on a second. Quarterback who's sitting at home right now with an afro and a shirt that says Black Lives Matter on it.
Who's the one that the Browns drafted?
Kaiser.
No. The other one, the one who was Manziel. Maybe Manziel can come in.
No. Is
that the one you're thinking about?
No, not thinking about Johnny Manziel. Not at all. Yeah, no. He can stay at home for all. Maybe what he should do is re-enroll in another college and see how he can do it.
I just think it would be so funny if the Ravens are just all right, listen, we understand. Joe's not playing well. We're going to shut him down for a little bit. We're bringing another quarterback on the roster.
Thank you. God.
I think you'll all enjoy what he brings to the town. He's been one of the most prolific African American athletes of the last quarter century. Mm-hmm. And we're really excited to introduce him to you now. And everyone's like,
here we go.
It's like Dante Culpepper. It's just wait a minute, isn't Dante Culpepper 50? What are you doing?
Here's the thing. I am not 100% sure.
Donovan McNabb, everybody.
I am not 100% sure that either one of those two names, Culpepper or McNabb, could not move around the pocket better at their ages right now than what Joe is doing.
Yeah.
I would put skinny Donovan McNabb from those I take the pills and shit out.
Oh, that's Rodney Pete.
Oh, that's Rodney Pete. I'll take Rodney Pete too. I'll take Rodney Pete. Any of those old.
He wasn't even good enough to be a starter back when he was.
Still, he can move around the pocket though. Let's get somebody in there. I mean, he looks very thin.
Yeah, he's definitely trimming up.
I mean, he's taking those fat blocker pills, and let's put him in there and see what he can do.
Yeah.
Because if the game plan, if Marty Morningwig's game plan is just to check down all day, hey Rodney, can you make a throw 10 yards or less?
Can you throw the ball 30 feet?
Can you?
Congratulations,
move around the
you can be a quarterback for the Ravens.
You're back in the pocket. Let's go. And can you move around a little bit? Let's see how that pocket presence is still developing. He's got kids now, so I bet you his pocket presence is even better. Because he senses where those kids are.
Yeah.
He's got that dad sense now. And he's like, oh, I sense somebody coming around the corner on me.
And just whap.
Yeah. They sometimes just got to catch that kid before they do something stupid. So he's got, Joe has that too, but he's also got the old man back. So it's a whole different thing. But no.
It's like my dad where it's just like, I got to stop playing. I got the bursitis.
But, I mean, honestly, I said this before week 1. There is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback who's out there who never had a great team. He never had a great core of receivers to throw to. We have that. He never had a great offensive line. We had that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have that now.
But I mean, at least he could probably waste more time back there than Joe. I mean,
and if the game plan is to throw downfield on first down and check down.
There was that one play during the game where the center snapped it in the dirt.
Yeah.
And Joe didn't get it right away. And he got sacked right away. But I'm saying, as soon as I saw it hit the ground, I was just like, all right, well, this is a sack.
Yep. There's no way.
There's no way Joe's recovering from that. He's just not... He's not quick enough. He can't handle that. I think at least you could make the argument that at the very least Kaepernick would have been able to turn that into
something.
Some 2-yard scramble just to get out of there. But who knows?
Don't lose 7 yards. Don't put us at 2nd and 17.
Yeah.
Get out. At least get back to the line of scrimmage and make it 2nd and 10 again. But yeah, so of course I'm talking about Colin Kaepernick, who's still available, still out there. And after last week, I would have thought maybe he's more appealing, but then after the Thursday and London game, the early game again this week, and then the first round of games on the East Coast this week, we went from 180 players kneeling last week to 11 kneeling this week. Now, the entire Baltimore team did kneel, but
prior to the anthem.
Then they stood for the anthem. So I don't know. It's upsetting because I think you guys are missing the point. Because you took a protest that Colin Kaepernick started about the murder of unarmed black men and unjust treatment of people of color in general, and you made it about an ignorant asshole. Oh, cancel. You made it about an ignorant asshole who is occupying the White House.
It'd be so funny if it's just ignorant asshole calling Brendan Baker.
Hey, Brendan.
Hey, Brian.
But so you took this protest that was idealistic and about making change, and you turned it into, hey, fuck this guy who's tweeting about it.
Yeah, fuck Trump.
Yeah, and that's not what it's supposed to be about. So when you guys are standing this week, I'm sensing that maybe you didn't ever get what it was really about.
You see, I feel like they're losing the, I feel like everybody who burned their season tickets and shit like that are going to end up regretting that decision because they're gonna in 3 weeks when they're not angry about this anymore, they're gonna be like, man, I really wish I could go see the Colts.
By the way, I noticed it on all those videos. The folders got tossed into the fire. Never once did I see a ticket actually go into the fire.
Yeah.
So M&T looked pretty full. Pretty full.
Yeah.
For all of the people who were tossing their tickets into the fire. And you guys are the hugest hypocrites in the world. So good for you. The NFL ratings are not going to be down this week. It's going to be exactly the same as it was.
I mean, they're
week.
Down in general, but I mean,
It has nothing to do with the kneeling.
Yeah. Not a 1 week thing.
Yeah. And the stadiums still look full to me, as full as they were before.
Yeah.
So you all are a bunch of hypocrites, and I didn't see anybody giving up their season tickets. I didn't see anybody selling their gear. You burned a 4-year-old Ravens jersey. You got a closet. You're like Corey, and you have a closet full of Ravens gear. Good for you. You made your point.
You decided to burn one of the jerseys that you owned.
Yeah. The old one that doesn't really fit anymore.
Yeah. I wanted to get a new Terrell Suggs jersey anyway, so.
So I burned the old one.
I burned the old one.
Yeah,
Fuck that Reebok shit.
Yeah. But meanwhile, Colin Kaepernick still sits at home, and if I have one piece of advice for the front office of the Baltimore Ravens, your quarterback looks like
well, he's not going to the Ravens. I mean, that's after what his girlfriend.
I don't give a fuck.
I'm just saying.
Get over it. Your quarterback looks like Forrest Gump before the braces came off. What we need is Forrest Gump after the braces came off, and maybe with some extra. Maybe Bubba. Maybe what we need is Bubba. I'm trying to find a good simile here. It's not working out very well, but he looks inept behind the line. We need somebody who's got a little life. There's a quarterback out there. Go get him. Go get him. And I bet you he'll play for cheap. I
just wonder if his girlfriend just is like Grimes' wife, Brent Grimes' wife.
Yeah,
you remember when she was just like when he was playing for the Dolphins and she's like ripping Tannehill.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
But hey, and just a little advice for Kaepernick's girlfriend: shut the fuck up.
Like you could have had a job. This could have all been over.
Again, they were in the room. Bishotti was just about on board.
Yeah.
And you fucked it up. Shut the fuck up. All right?
It's fine if you want to think that. Rob thinks bad things about Ray Lewis. He doesn't choose to like vocalize them all the time. He just waits for his moments.
Right.
And then
like the fact that a person lost their lives and he was involved in a scheme to make that happen.
Yeah.
But we still have a statue of him outside the stadium. He still looked like Samuel L. Jackson from Django Unchained when he was kneeling on both knees.
By the way, I get the I think that there's definitely a argument that could be made that I've seen a lot of people talk about, which is like the Maryland Stadium Authority has basically had like 24-hour security around his statue.
Yeah.
Because they don't want somebody to go out there and just tear it down on their own.
I really want somebody to try. Because here's what you're going to find.
But I mean,
you're going to find somebody crushed by that statue.
Not to defend Confederate statues.
Yeah.
But it's funny how, a protester can go and just rip down a Confederate statue.
Yeah.
And people will be like, well, yeah, I mean, that came from a different time. And you got to understand that, like, even though we, like to recognize what this man did, he also had the negative side. So we understand why the statue came down. And it's like if the Ray Lewis statue is like under constant guard, and if somebody tore it down, it's just like, well, yeah, he killed a guy, but I mean, like, he's not that. He's also a great football player.
I mean, what's more important, really?
I mean, he thinks black people should live, and he killed a guy. Those are the 2 strikes against him. I don't
really understand. I don't understand what the. Wait, wasn't there an assault at some point earlier in his career?
No, I don't know.
I feel like there was an aggravated assault, and then later there was the conspiracy to commit murder. Feel like there was 2.
Maybe.
So 3 strikes, but that doesn't have any impact on anything. Anyway, so shift away from football to the other Baltimore sports team.
That is done for the season.
Yes, we watched the tragic, the wheels finally fall off. If there was one inning...
Cancel.
If there was one inning that really showed anything about how the Orioles season has gone, it was the 8th inning of the last game against Tampa Bay, where we gave up 4 walks. We gave up 4 walks and 8 or 7 runs in 1 inning. Let the game just get out of hand. Buck is just sitting in the dugout, just like, I don't.
What do I do? What do I do?
I don't know what to do. I can't. But all the guys are leaning on the railing, so they're out there supporting the team, even in the top of the 9th. Trey Mancini strikes out to end the game,
end the season.
I don't know what to do with this team anymore. They had so much hope going in, and then they fell off, but then they came back, and it was looking good right up until 20 games to go. And then,
Richie Bancells is going to retire.
Yeah, today was his last day.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, he announced it right before the game. He didn't want a Derek. He's not like Derek Jeter or anything.
Right? Yeah,
he doesn't need a huge send off. Doesn't need to go stadium to stadium while they're.
We need a Richie 2-packed.
Yeah. So I don't know what there is to say about the Orioles this year, except for we got one more year, guys. I mean, let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
2018 is it. After that, we start to rebuild, and it's back to 2003, 1995, everything again. If we even make it that far, because I don't know that Dan Duquette is not going to trade Manny now before he becomes a free agent. Try to get something out of him this offseason.
I don't think he trades Manny now. What really upsets me is that I heard rumors that there was a contract offer out to Machado.
Yeah.
And like the difference between where Manny wanted it to be and like what we offered him was like another like $10 million or something like that.
Okay.
And I just want to be like, just do it, whatever.
Pay him the money.
Fucking do it.
Yeah.
It's like, we want to pay him 10 years and $25 million a year. We don't want to pay him $26 million a year. It's just fucking
pay the man.
Just do it.
And I hope that that's true, but I imagine that there is no way we're going to have the money to actually pay him to keep him around. Which means 2018 will be the end, and then he'll be playing for the Yankees or the Red Sox, one or the other. And we're also losing Jones in 2018. Right?
2020, I thought, or 2019.
I think it's 2018.
Yeah, maybe. I know a lot of people are out at 2018.
The only person we have, I mean, luckily we renegotiated that Chris Davis contract. So
or that Mark Trumbo contract
Yeah.
too. You gotta have those people have.
Those huge sluggers will be around for way into the future. So we'll see. I wish I had hope. I wish I had hope. I don't. I don't have any hope. I think my soul really says if you can't get Manny under a contract in this offseason, trade him. Trade him and let's get something from him instead of just letting him walk away. Because he's going to walk away.
No, but I mean, like, I still feel like even as bad as the season ended up, I still feel like we're not that far away from being able to compete and possibly win a World Series. And I don't want to give that up. Like, when the Orioles got hot this season.
Hang on a sec. Flash joins us in the comments on the podcast. And, of course, you can join us every single week, facebook.com/OTheAnthem. We are going to try to be on YouTube next week. We need to run tests and make sure it actually works. But look for us on YouTube next week. Flash, sorry both your sports teams aren't doing well. Well, it was a rough week. We had a divisional game against Pittsburgh, and we lost.
Yeah.
But it's not like we lost to the Panthers.
Yeah, on a field goal.
On a field goal. At the
With
last
time
minute.
expiring, yeah.
Ooh, that has got to sting. I don't even think of I think of the Steelers as a perennial threat year after year. But the Panthers?
Yeah.
I mean, they had that one good year.
And I mean, to be fair, they haven't won a game in Baltimore since like 2012 or something like that. So, I mean, like we've had a pretty good run of beating them. I mean, they have to win eventually.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, seeing as Joe is literally made of dirt.
I mean, it's not like he is the premier quarterback of the league.
Yeah.
Who's throwing to the best tight end in the league.
Right.
And has the best wide receiving core in the league.
And the best head coach.
Best head coach in the league.
Yeah.
And you still lose to the Carolina Panthers. Anyway, sorry, we were talking about the Orioles. Yes. And I would also make fun of the Red Sox, but she knows nothing about baseball, so it would just go right over her head. Anyway, go ahead.
My concern is that you gotta take this opportunity to just try and like win with the last year you have.
Yeah.
My thing is that I want to hear at least one name where I go like, oh, good. Oh, we're bringing in a real pitcher this year.
Yeah.
I don't know who's a free agent, so I mean, like obviously, if the best free agent pitcher available, well, he's not gonna. But I'm saying, like, if the best free agent pitcher available is like Garrett Richards, then I understand why you don't want to like go into this like spending spree for like a bunch of mid-level guys. Right. But if there's a name out there, just do it. Just have fun. Just 1 year. Just
we're gonna be the 97 Marlins, load it up, and then just sell it all off at the end of the year.
The interesting thing about the new collective bargaining agreement was that it made it more. You could sort of create these short-term contracts that would be huge dollar amounts, and it wouldn't affect your cap.
Right.
Because if it was just a short-term contract, then it doesn't like carry over per se. Mm-hmm. So the idea that there is like a possibility. Let's just use like Max Scherzer as an example. I know he's not a free agent.
Okay.
But say he was going to get $20 million from somebody. Just say Scherzer, 1 year, $30 million. Come to the Orioles. It'd be hard to turn that down.
Right.
I mean, you'd want the security of like the 10-year deal and the $200 million and everything like that. But
he's telling
for
himself
1 year and $30 million.
Right. And I can, if I put up great numbers, now I can justify asking for $30 million every year.
Right. Or, get the $25 million over the next 9 years as opposed to 20 over 10 or something.
Yeah.
There's a way that this works out for the player to just take a large sum of money up front. And I think that the Orioles might need to do something like that.
Yeah.
Just get maybe sign Ohtani. That would be lovely.
Right. Do another trade to get some overseas bonus money.
And it would
really
be
what we need.
It would be nice if we had somebody on the team who could like hit well. Like in terms of
wait. We just paid a ton of money for Mark Trumbo and Chris Davis.
Somebody who could get on base would be nice.
Yes. Yeah. Well.
Like I remember when Hayes first came up and I was watching him, it was just like, wow, he's been on base 3 times so far. This game, what a revelation! Like,
what is this like? What is happening right now?
There's base runners in this game. What?
Yeah,
I thought it was all home runs.
Anyway, so those are the 2 different schools of thought. I say fire sale the whole thing. And because if you can win without Manny Machado. Because you can trade him now, get a lot of pieces together, and put together a repeating year. A 18, 19, 20 World Series pushing team. But if we keep all the eggs in the Manny basket, and we're not going to be able to sign him again at the end of 2018, then he just walks away, and we get nothing for that.
Yeah.
So either sign him in the offseason or trade him and get something that can help us push to the playoffs and look for something that's going to get us 3 years worth of value. Let's find a big hitter and a starting pitcher and we're going to get him for 3 years for what it was going to cost us for Manny to keep him, or less than what we would have paid to keep him for those 3 years. Trade it away. Let's do it. And let's look at 2021 as being the year, because that's also Chris Davis will run out in 4 years, right? So that would be 2021 as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So all of those crappy contracts that we had just signed with players who just like to strike out looking and, hit home runs occasionally and not get on base, all of those will run out in 2021. Let's get a couple of players and get rid of everything in 2021. Will be a rebuilding year.
I just feel like the Orioles need to like sort of. There's no way to rid themselves of like Trumbo and Davis's contracts,
right?
But we need to. The majors are changing. Did you know that there were more players who hit 15 home runs than qualified for the batting title?
Yes. Yeah.
That is absurd. The players who hit home runs are out there more than there ever have been before. Stanton hit 60.
Did he actually hit?
I don't know. I'm sorry. He was at 59. I don't know.
But he was up. He had the chance to hit his 60th home run today.
Yeah.
I don't know if he actually hit one. It would be cool if it was on the alert that was on your homepage right now.
I was looking. I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah. No.
Maybe it's Stanton news.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, I just feel like what the if you could ask me any player in the majors, who would I like to have on the Orioles?
Yeah.
I would make I could make you a really compelling argument for someone like Jose Altuve.
Okay.
And it's not because he hits a lot of home runs or anything like that, but he gets on base all the time.
Right.
He causes distractions on the base pass. He can steal bases. He does things to put yourself in a better position to win games by scoring more runs.
Sure.
This is the valuable thing we need.
Right.
We need somebody who can get on base. Because if Jose Altuve is on first base and he's dancing around and trying to steal second, then the pitcher has to concentrate on him and not on Davis at the plate. And you want to just pump fastballs in, because if Altuve takes off, you want the catcher to be able to get the ball to second faster. Yes. And then you're giving Davis more fastballs than you are curveballs. These are things that would help everybody on the team. If you could have somebody...
If he takes a bat off his shoulder.
But I'm saying...
He was not seeing the ball
when we watched,
this season.
When we were playing the Reds earlier in the season, Hamilton got on like 4 or 5 times. And you could tell the second he got on, the game changed, because... the pitcher could not stop thinking about Hamilton on first.
Yeah.
and then Hamilton would steal second, and then he couldn't stop thinking about him on second, and then Hamilton would move to third, and then just causing trouble the whole time. He scored runs because he just manufactured them on the base paths.
And we don't have that.
We don't have anybody like that.
No. But
or anybody who will hit 350 for the season.
Well, that too. But the two schools of thought are how we've laid it out here. One is spend the money to 1997 Marlins ourselves or 2004 Diamondbacks ourselves into a World Series.
Yeah.
But you have to accept that is a one-off. You are not going to repeat the next year. You got to sell everything off or let everything go, let everybody walk away, and then know that you're just rebuilding from scratch in 2019.
Yeah.
Or either secure what you have, which we won't be able to do because we can't afford it, and trade away the big pieces that you have, bring in some young talent, and look at a 2021 rebuilding year. Let those bloated contracts run out. Bring in some younger guys who can manufacture some runs, get some young guys in the 1, 2, and 3 spots so that Davis has a little pressure reliever, so he is getting more fastballs. And we're not going to do that, and you can't have both of those things.
I mean, I feel
can't have both.
So much of the problem this year, though, seemed to be that the bullpen was just blown up almost immediately because starters couldn't get out of like the 4th inning, and there was so many starters who just got rocked. And then when you're already down 10-0 in the 4th, there's no. What are you going to do? Like, just you can chip away, but it's not like being down by 1. You don't have the optimism that you get a couple hits and you're right back in this thing.
Right.
Number 1 needs to be fixing the starting rotation, because if you fix the starters, then the bullpen gets better. And I honestly think that the team we have on the field, minus a couple holes, is good enough to win
with better starting pitching.
Sure. I mean, you don't. We still have Trumbo and Davis, and I think Davis' value as a defensive first baseman is good.
Yeah.
But he could, if I told you right now that Chris Davis hits 50 home runs next year.
Yeah.
You could believe it. Sure. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Don't think it's likely, but sure.
No, but I'm saying, like, if I told you that he hit 50, or if I told you that
Jonathan Scope hit 50.
Yeah. Which one is more likely to you?
Davis is probably going to hit 50. Yes.
Right. So at least the threat's still there, I guess, is the point. Moving on, though.
Yeah.
Somebody who is not still there. Mm-hmm. This week we lost the founder of Playboy magazine, Hugh Hefner.
Yes.
A especially beloved figure in Los Angeles, I would say.
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit about Hef when we were watching the Amazon series.
Yes, we did.
But I wanted to give you an opportunity. Do you have anything?
Well, I've been mulling this over all week long since the news came out on Wednesday. Ironic, Hef died on a hump day. All the way straight to the end. But I've been mulling this over, and it's not easy to take a position on Hugh Hefner. It's just not. Because for those, well, what I will say is that it's not easy because of the reactionary nature of the people who hear the name and how they respond.
Yeah.
Because if you talk to a 22-year-old woman who knows Hugh Hefner as the Playboy who was starring in whatever that show was with the bunnies living in the house.
Yeah.
Girl Next Door. Is that what it was?
Oh, yeah.
Girls
I thought you were
Next Door?
talking about like the old, like the Playboy Mansion Presents or whatever it was.
The one that made some of the bunnies famous.
Yeah.
He was not the icon that he started his life being at the end of his life.
Right.
He used women as decoration. He certainly did not have the feminist iconography that he had at the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
But if you talk to somebody who was alive in the 60s who can tell you about how much he did to push forward race relations and the feminist movement, the first wave feminist movement, or I guess second wave feminist movement in the 60s, and liberalizing American society as a whole, and going to court to try and like turn back perversion laws, like blue laws, all of these things. He did a lot for society. And I think we've talked about this before about like, you don't want to excuse your grandpa who's a huge racist. But at the same time, he's not going to change who he is. And Hef was a man of his time. He was very forward thinking for 1970, but that did not translate into
being forward thinking in
2017.
Yeah.
You either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
That's good. You should write that down. You should
I'm
put that
gonna
in the script.
Screenplay. That's definitely going in a screenplay. But yeah, he was the first one to have waitresses, black and white waitresses at his restaurant serving customers. There was
clubs, not restaurants.
What's that?
Clubs, not restaurants.
Clubs, yeah. There was no colored section where black waitresses serve black customers and white waitresses serve white customers. It was the bunnies go to whatever table they're at.
Yeah.
They all look the same. They all have the same costume on or uniform on, and they're all going to give you the same treatment no matter what. And no matter who you are, you might have a white waitress. It might be a table full of black guys, and you have a white waitress. That's just how this is.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. Because inside these halls, we treat everyone equally. And certainly, it's weird because when you think of Gloria Allred and Hugh Hefner being on the same side of an issue, that happened in the 70s.
Yeah.
And now, in 2017, they would never be on the same side of any issue because she thinks that he's the devil. But
I think that
it's hard.
It's a very complicated history. But I will say this. I think that for the things that you can really say you can really laud Hugh Hefner for.
Yeah.
He was a trailblazer and an innovator and a legend.
Yes.
I think those are all formal words. And those things I'm speaking of are like him as a publisher.
Yep.
Like Playboy was not a great idea coming out the gate.
The laws didn't allow it, basically.
It was not a winning hand, but he believed in it, and he continued to push his own time into making that thing work.
Yeah.
And the success of it was based almost entirely off of his sweat equity.
Yep.
I mean, obviously other people worked there, but he was the one who was driving the ball. He was the quarterback of the Playboy enterprise.
Yeah.
I think as far as going inside the publishing realm as like somebody who would allow interesting thought pieces to be written where nobody else would allow, Hunter S. Thompson to write these pieces or, things that were critical of war or any issue. And it didn't matter if the issue was controversial because Playboy was a place where you could write that kind of article.
It was already controversial, so write what you want.
And then I would say this, not to paint him as a feminist icon or anything, obviously, because I don't buy that per se, but I would say that there seems to have been a turn just in my lifetime alone, where the idea of somebody's 15 minutes of fame are up and now they're gonna be in Playboy, was like it was like, okay, your usefulness is over now. Let's just show me your tits and get out of here.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas nudity now and even pornography now is looked upon more favorably than it was before.
Sure.
Somebody like Sasha Grey is allowed to go from porn into legitimate acting.
Yeah.
And nobody says like, fuck you, porn star, like get out of here.
Right.
I'm sure she gets it, but it's not the same as, Jenna Jameson was a porn star and there was no turning that. There was no making her a movie star. There was no doing anything. She was just a porn star and that's it. It seemed like if, whoever, like the Tammy Faye Baker's husband who had the affair.
Robert Baker?
Robert Baker.
Yeah.
He had the affair. The girl was in Playboy.
I can't remember.
Anywho.
Yeah.
That was like a... it was almost like your whole life is over because you showed up in Playboy.
It's the last hurrah for you.
It's the last hurrah. Yeah. It's the last opportunity you're gonna have any money, and now you're gonna have to peacefully retire in the woods and never be seen again.
Yep.
And again, not trying to excuse him for the things that I think are unacceptable, but I would say that he had a turn in allowing women to sort of carve out this new niche inside of a thing that had previously been seen as obscene and dirty and
Yeah.
life ending. And I think that's very interesting.
I have been,
And as a philanthropist too, because I mean,
that's why LA loves him.
yeah,
LA
I
loves him
mean
for his
specifically, so the one that he's sort of known for here is the Hollywood sign,
Right.
Because when he moved to LA from Chicago, the Hollywood sign, which was Hollywood Land, which was a real estate development,
Yeah.
was in horrible disrepair, and they were going to tear it down. And he personally wrote a check to help redo it.
Yeah.
He wrote like a $800,000 check when that was
And he got
a
lot of
absurd
money.
amount of money.
and he got a lot of his buddies who all hung out at the mansion to also pony up money
Yeah.
to redo the whole thing.
The H is dedicated to Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
Because he put the money in. And he also, again, saved it when they were trying to put more work into it.
Yeah.
So,
Now,
and I mean, again, there's it's always difficult when you have somebody with like a sort of thorny public image. But I also think that there was something to be said about the Playboy Mansion, to me at least, seemed like a epic. It was like like on the same level as like getting invited to the Oscars,
Yeah.
or like something like that. Get to go to a World Series game. I'm going to the Playboy Mansion tonight. Oh my god! Like I know people who would be more excited about that than almost anything else I could tell them.
yeah.
And that was Hef. That was him creating the universe in which the Playboy Mansion was one of the most sought after tickets in town, you know?
And I think that also goes to everyone's perspective. I like to think that well, I have argued before that sex workers are empowered so long as they make the choice that they're choosing to do what they're doing, that you can find empowerment in any kind of work, including sex work. And for the vast majority of the women who worked at the Playboy Mansion or who partied at the Playboy Mansion, I would like to think that they found empowerment in doing that. That this is how they use their femininity to find their place in the world. And there are horrible allegations that came out of it. I don't know that anything was actually ever like proven. I know that like Brooke Shields was there when she was 15, and she probably should not have been there at 15. But she was also there at 15 in the 70s when things were way different than they are now. And that's not to excuse anything that happened. It's just to say that I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable enough to make any statement about that. But
Yeah.
I think that when you have certain people look at that and say, "Oh, well, you're dressed scantily and you're dancing around men," that is automatically a bad thing. But as you said, I think that for some women, it was empowering for them. It helped them find a second act. Well, for some women, if they found a second act of their life, for some women, it was finding a first act of their life.
Yeah.
And saying, I mean, when we were watching the documentary, or not the documentary, but the Amazon special, where it's like women coming from all over the country and just like being able to they were in Playboy, they were at the mansion for a couple years, and then they went out and did something else, and they moved on out of the Playboy empire into something else, and they would have been stuck in whatever small town in Iowa that they came from otherwise. So just like any other Hollywood related, entertainment related thing, fame can be there and you can find and advance yourself.
I would also, now this may be a controversial statement, but I feel like in talking about Playboy, which again, has sort of championed the controversial statement, I will say this, and this is not to defend Hef or to find guilt in him, but I feel like most men, regardless of how saintly or sinner they may be, have had some sort of accusation launched against them at some point by a woman.
Yeah.
And I think that part of the hearing so much about it right now, again, I have never taken the time to read deeply into statements. And if I found out that, Hef like tied some woman to a radiator and wouldn't let her leave, then I would have a very different opinion about this. But the chauvinist act that Hef would have was, as you said, very much at the time, but also felt like probably the right number of people who would allege that he would have done something, as opposed to just people I know in my life.
Yeah.
Because we were talking to Lucy once where she was just like, I don't get what it is about you Americans. Why don't you just go up and kiss the girl?
Right.
I'm just like, because if I just go up and randomly kiss a girl,
Gonna be problems.
there's problems.
Yeah.
Like, that is not cool.
Yeah.
Like, there has been a moment, and I'm not saying it's anything horrible, but I'm saying there's been a moment where you like go to grab a woman and just be like, you know, like, hey, did you just touch me?
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
I think that there is there are certainly faults in his legacy, and there are certainly things that he did right, and anybody who strives for greatness is going to have a little bit of both. Going to have the shadow and the light. And I don't know. There won't be anybody else like him for quite a while.
I don't know if there ever will be again, because he was such a pioneer in the field that he did.
Yeah.
I mean, how else in the
Well,
field of
nobody
publishing
ever encapsulated sort of like something as much as he did. Like
Robin Leach is the closest thing to a Hugh Hefner, and he didn't come close.
Yeah.
Because you young kids don't understand, but there was a show in the early 90s.
Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Yes, and it was an English guy who I believe was a butler. I think he was classically trained as a butler, but he would take you. It was MTV Cribs before Cribs, but it was actually super rich people, not just like entertainment stars.
Yeah, not just movie stars.
Yeah, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and Robin Leach became so closely associated with that rich and famous lifestyle. That is what Hef did. Hef built a brand and then lived the brand and became the brand. And I don't know if that will ever be possible again.
Right.
Mainly because I don't know if that kind of brand building is. I mean, Big Baller brand is trying to do that, but it's not even close.
I mean, if Hef was starting today as opposed to when he did, and change everything to make it equivalent to how he would be able to grow in today's world. So he created some website.
Yeah.
Then I feel like there would the desire for us to see somebody fall is so quick.
Oh yeah.
That Hef would not have been able to get away with anything that he did throughout his run as it actually happened. Like, he would have been crucified half a dozen times way early in the career, and he never would have been allowed to get to the point where he is now. And I think that's a bit of a fault in our society too. Again, not to say that he is an angel and should be looked upon greatly, but I'm saying there's in today's society, Hef is not allowed to build the way he did before.
We don't build Ray Lewis a statue because of everything that he did. We built him a statue because of some of the things he did and in spite of other things that he did. We laud Hugh Hefner not for everything that he did, but for some of the things that he did and in spite of other things that he did.
Yeah.
And Flash again from the chat. Again, you guys can join us every single week. We do our live stream at facebook.com/OTheAnthem. She put it way, but this is how I wanted to put it, but she put it way better. It depends on the type of place sex worker is working at, but prostitution helps settle the West. And these women, meaning the Playboy bunnies, the first generations, I would assume, were business women kicking ass. And that's exactly it. They control their sexuality, and Hugh Hefner, in a male-dominated world, provided them the space to do that in a way that they couldn't have ever done that before. So it's been a completely non-political episode, this episode.
Should we just
I would really
hammer it at the end?
I really want to, but apparently no one in the administration listened to us talking about Puerto Rico, and we would be remiss if we did not talk about Puerto Rico.
Yeah. By the way, I that's not the right term.
Yeah.
It upsets me greatly that we talk about Puerto Rico, and we did all we could not to be like political or anything about it. It was just purely the facts. Please give to the people of Puerto Rico.
Yes.
They are dying. They don't have power. They don't have water. The hospitals are failing. Like, these are the things we were saying. We're not trying to make an issue out of this. We were just saying, if you have the money to give. It would be lovely if you would.
And don't give to the Red Cross. Give to local charities.
Give to whoever you feel is best.
Follow Lin-Manuel on Twitter and he has been tweeting out local Puerto Rican charities.
That's great.
That's
the
place to
I'm
find
saying
it.
if somebody wants to give money to the Red Cross and they're only going to give money if it's the Red Cross, then fine, give
That's
money to
better
the Red
than
Cross. But
nothing.
it's better than nothing. But I'm saying, like, obviously I think there's better options, but research it for yourself. But all we were trying to do was say Puerto Rico needs help.
Yeah.
Please, everybody try and help Puerto Rico in any way you can. And Trump, because I don't know, Trump decides that he is going to lambast the mayor of San Juan, who's like wading through water with a bullhorn trying to save people.
Yeah.
And say that like now he's got to criticize, or now she's got to criticize him because Democrats told her to. Like this is.
I don't understand how the Republic has fallen so far.
And we just get done with our Hef conversation.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't get how we would say Hef would have been crucified half a dozen times by now. Yep. But maybe he wouldn't have. Maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, if the Trump experiment proves anything, it's that if you just are willing to deal with it, then maybe you can just say whatever you want and not have to work. Like, could I come onto this podcast this week and just be like, fuck Puerto Rico. Everyone who lives there, I hope they die. And it's just like, whoa, people are actually dying in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I said it. Go on. That's how I feel. I'm just a straight shooter. I'm just saying what I feel.
You could do that.
Yeah, and then people would get very angry at me, and it would raise my profile for the time that they're angry at me. And then if nothing bad comes of it at the end of it, then what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, I just Trump famously got on Obama for golfing during what was it, Sandy?
Yes. And then later confusing it with Katrina.
Right.
Happened.
Yeah.
At a different time. Different presidency. Yeah.
And he's on the golf course this weekend instead of down in Puerto Rico.
Just to recap, the mayor of San Juan is wading through waist-high water, which is sewage, seawater and sewage, and who knows what else. Probably toxic waste, just like it was in Houston and in Florida. And she's carrying a bullhorn, and she's literally standing at the front door of places and bullhorning, shouting into the house to figure out if there's someone trapped in the house to get rescuers in. While she's doing this, our president is golfing at one of his private resorts, which we're all paying him to do. Not only paying his salary, but paying for his stay and paying for the Secret Service to keep him safe while he's there.
And to rent golf courses or rent golf carts and ride around with him.
And for him and his guests, of course, as well. And while there, he decides to tweet out and lambast her for not being loyal, essentially, for not following the line. The general who's in charge of Puerto Rico said that we have not sent enough troops. And Chris Murphy from Connecticut, in one of the most apt tweets this week, said, "What the hell are we spending so much money on the military for if we can't get more than 5,000 troops and 50 helicopters to Puerto Rico in a week?"
Yeah.
I don't understand. They just signed a bill, a $600 billion spending bill for the military, and we can't get troops and helicopters to a U.S. protectorate with friendly air bases 600 miles away.
Yeah.
What are we doing with $600 billion? I don't know. And so things that people didn't know about Puerto Rico, there is a law that says that to go to a Puerto Rican port, you have to have come from an American port. So if you are living in the Dominican Republic, which is a very short boat ride from Puerto Rico, if you wanted to ship something there, you would actually have to send it to Miami first, and then from Miami back to Puerto Rico. Because in order for the container to be accepted at the port of San Juan, it would have to come from an American port. And that was to help protect the Puerto Rican economy, which is what has caused it to be $22 billion in debt. Because they can't have trade with other nations. They only can trade with the United States. And Trump blames that debt as why he's not helping Puerto Rico. Like, maybe if they had done better keeping their house in order, we wouldn't have to help them.
What the one that gets I've been hearing stories about, like, nurses who are working these nonstop shifts to try and keep people alive, and they'll be working for 18 straight hours, like going from patient to patient, just trying to do anything they can to keep somebody alive for, a day longer, and then the power goes out and everyone dies.
Yeah.
And it's a brave and courageous on the people who are there trying to do whatever they can to help others, but it's also incredibly sad and depressing that that it can just all go away like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like we shouldn't have to argue so hard for issues that are Tom Price resigned this week for using the private jets and offering $50,000 to make up for the $700,000 bill he ran up in private jets.
Yeah.
That would categorize itself as an issue that everybody could agree on.
Yeah.
Like, that's just fucked up. That's just dumb. And they were able to handle that problem pretty quick. Mm-hmm. He resigned. Trump got him out of there. Doesn't have to worry about it anymore. Gives him a lot of Tom Price is a good guy on the way out. He made a mistake. He made a mistake several times, but he's a good guy. He's not an awful person.
Oh, by the way, why is he enjoying the fact that Tom Price isn't there?
Oh, because it's HHS, so he doesn't have anybody in charge of trying to get people on healthcare.
Right. Yeah. So right before open enrollment starts, when the head of HHS is supposed to be gearing up for the go out and get healthcare.
Yeah.
Now there's nobody there to get that process going. And, of course, when people don't sign up, they can say, well, look, the system's failing because people don't sign up.
Yeah.
But just to reiterate, and Flash says in the comments that maybe Trump didn't realize that they are American citizens. But the people of Puerto Rico are American citizens. They have birthright just like we were born in Maryland, or you're born in California, or Maine, or Minnesota, or Texas, or anywhere else. They're Americans just the same.
Even Alaska,
even though that really shouldn't count. But they're Americans just like the rest of us. And the fact that we can't even get the news to pay attention to what's going on there unless the president is saying something ridiculous about the island.
Yeah.
Americans are dying. The story, I mean, you already mentioned it, but it broke my heart that these nurses had pulled 72 hours straight and then the generator failed and everyone died.
Yeah.
It's a war movie. It reminds me of a war movie where Saving Private Ryan, Giovanni Ribisi is on the beach and he's like, I stopped the bleeding. Dink, and bullet in the head.
Yeah.
And he's like, give me a chance, you sons of bitches.
Right.
That's what I imagine these nurses are going through. And keep in mind, there are 11,000 containers on a dock in Puerto Rico with medical supplies and food and water that came from another country, so they could not be processed through the Port of San Juan until the president said we are going to waive the Jones Act for a week. And it took him a week to decide to do that. We need to make a decision about Puerto Rico. Either it needs to be a state and be brought in, and we'll accept the $22 billion of debt, which is a drop in the bucket to what the debt we already have as a nation.
It doesn't make a big difference on the...
And by the way, some of that debt is owed to U.S. corporations because of the way the Jones Act is set up. That the protectorate of Puerto Rico owes money to American companies that the U.S. government would never owe them money.
Right.
But that's how it works. Or we need to let them go and let them be their own country because the current situation is untenable. And they would be able to get aid. By the way, Cuba and Venezuela, two countries that are on the enemies list of Trump, have offered aid, and it's been refused.
Yeah.
We are not sending people to help, but we're also keeping other people from sending help, which is the most ridiculous thing. It's like, let's just sit and let's watch them die.
It's the phrase that I think of is the when your house is on fire, you don't haggle over the cost of the hose.
Right.
Just
wait, where does that quote come from?
I think that was West Wing, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was quoted in West Wing, but it's Franklin Roosevelt talking about the Lend-Lease Act in World War II. So disappointed.
Whatever. Anywho, let us not look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yes.
Cuba wants to send help.
Doctors.
To anything.
Yeah.
If Cuba just sent over food.
Right.
just take it. Like
Potable water.
Yeah, don't. Can we fucking grow up, please? I mean, like, Jesus Christ. It's times like this. Like I haven't had a solid job in a while, and things are very lean for myself. And I've considered how much could I possibly donate to some cause in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
I don't care if it's $10. I wanted to do something, but we all have the capability within us to do something great, and every single little bit helps. And I can't believe that we are in this place where Trump is acting like this. But we saw a video. I posted it on Facebook.
Yes.
This week, where Trump, in the archives of Howard Stern conversations that he's had, admits to watching a 80-year-old man fall off a stage, crack his head on the marble at Mar-a-Lago, and then complain about the fact that he had to almost die right near Trump.
Oh, no. Complained that there was a mess from all the blood.
Yeah.
And I just had to turn away.
It was terrible.
And then luckily there were some Marines who rushed in and picked him up and got out. And all I could think was, is that going to stain the marble? It's going to stain the floor. It's a different color even today. It's going. I mean, you've been there. It's a different color today.
Yeah.
This is. I don't understand man's inhumanity to
man. Will you sleep with a woman when she's menstruating? Well, I mean, I guess we all have.
Right. So it's not the blood that's the problem. It's the.
I mean, you prefer not to have blood around you.
Sure.
But in the past, you have allowed that.
Yeah.
You have allowed blood to touch you. But this guy who almost died, you're not going to run over there and be like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" Or like try and put some pressure on the wound that he has or anything.
No, you're going to turn your back on him.
Yeah.
And just let him die in front of you, because that's who he is as a person. So why would
not
you think
check on him?
Yeah. Why would you think he would? Oh yeah, that was the other part. I didn't even call him the next day. Didn't even call to see if he was okay. I mean, he was okay. He made it. He's fine. But I didn't call to check on him the next day.
I don't get where that one alone. I don't get where you tell that story thinking that you're going to like come out looking.
They laugh because they laugh no matter what.
Right.
It's
yeah.
It's a canned morning show.
It's the same as like whenever you're watching like Big O and Dukes.
Oh yeah.
And like I have to hear like that one guy like I like anything regardless.
Yeah.
So I murdered my wife last night.
Such a hater.
No, but I'm saying
you guys should check out Big O and Dukes. It's a good show.
I'm just if I came on the podcast, I'm like, I can't wait to tell you this story. So I was walking through Skid Row the other day, and some homeless guy asked me for money, and I punched him right in the face, and he fell on the ground, and he was unconscious, and I'm pretty sure it killed him. I was just like, good, took care of the homeless problem. People would write in, and with reason, going, Corey, you are a fucking lunatic. You are the worst kind of person.
Yeah.
What do you... I don't get it. Like, where are you coming from? This story doesn't even make you seem like a good person. Like,
right.
It's not like ridding one person of the homeless population is fixing anything anyway, and you're acting like this is some big deal.
Yeah.
Like, this is what he just did.
Yes.
He told a story that does not make him look better. It does not help him at all. It just makes him look like an idiot. And
he told it proudly.
Yep. Yeah.
And that is the 45th president of the United States. And if you wonder why he doesn't care that thousands of Puerto Rican American citizens are dying, there's your answer. And I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted by the whole thing.
Yeah.
We are 8 months, 9 months, going into the 9th month of the Trump presidency, and I don't know if I'm going to make it 4 years.
Yeah.
Listen, Robert Mueller, if you are listening to the sound of my voice, please. Please, God.
Just do something.
Save us all. Save us, Robert Mueller. You're our only hope.
Anywho.
Anyway.
If you're looking for all the things that Robert Mueller could charge Trump with, theanthem.com. Corey to theanthem.com. Or the Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com for links to my political blog, foundingthefuture.us. The new and renewed A Dead Drop which is back.
What?
If you are listening to this on Tuesday, the Dead Drop is back. Make sure you check it out at a Dead Dropper on Twitter. And it's all your favorite news stories, but no politics. Just everything else that you haven't heard about. The weirdest, craziest stuff from the web. All the hidden corners have been scourged, and we are pulling all those stories together into the Dead Drop. So you're not going to want to miss out on that. adeaddrop.com or a Dead Dropper on Twitter. So make sure you check that out.
And hopefully interesting things in the future of a Dead Drop.
Yes. So we're planning things out, but the first step is the website's up, so make sure you go check that out. And you can also find links to the books which are available on Amazon.
Buy Rose Books.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good, but I'm going to go drink now. So
much like Hugh Hefner, it's a mixed bag.
It's always a mixed bag. But you've been listening to the The Anthem podcast, part of the The Anthem Digital Network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Arrivederci, suckers.